What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. In the last part, we got to see the weird effects of Vegeta's power, showing how it completely altered both timelines. This actually did help benefit him, because now he knows more about it. But one thing he's unsure about is Trunks. Could Trunks possibly have inherited the same power as him? Well, there's no real way that he can know yet. But as you could probably guess, we're going to delve more into that in this part. For this video, let's set a like goal of 3,000 likes. Once we hit that, I'll continue with another part to the series. Anyways, let's pick up from here. Following the Android saga, we're going to be going into a time skip just like normal. The great thing here is that Goku actually survives, unlike in canon. He's around training with Vegeta a lot, also training with Gohan and his other friends. As for Vegeta, now that he has a control over his power, he wants to see if he can improve it somehow. Sure, it's great that he has this controlled state now, but he wonders if he can go even above that somehow. Goku and Gohan try to surpass him as well, and it seems much easier for them to improve Super Saiyan. All they do is focus on efficiency and they get grade 4, and then after that, they're able to ascend to Super Saiyan 2 with some extra training. Obviously it's not an instant process, it may take a few years or so. But it seems they may be closing the gap between them and Vegeta. As for him, he doesn't really know what the next step for him is. Maybe he has his own version of Super Saiyan 2 just like they have. And he is growing way stronger due to his natural potential as the legendary Super Saiyan. But a new form may give him the extra boost and motivation that he wants. So, while he trains, he keeps aiming for this, if there even is something above it. Eventually, we arrive to the Buu saga. Much of the stuff beforehand goes normal. Gohan still becomes the Great Saiyaman, and then everyone goes into the tournament. As for the tournament itself, not much has really changed, except Android 18 won't be there, so we'd probably replace her with someone like Tenshinhan or Yamcha. But even then, it's not really going to affect too much of the story. In terms of strength, I feel like Gohan would at least be able to keep up with his canon self, possibly even going a bit above where he was in canon due to him continuing his training, and as for Goku, he'd be the same strength too. Vegeta's obviously a lot stronger than he is normally. But the most interesting thing is Goten and Trunks. As far as Vegeta can tell, so far Trunks seems normal. Well, at least as normal as a Saiyan can be. Goten has already accessed Super Saiyan, but Trunks hasn't for some reason. He's been growing a lot stronger and he definitely has inherited some great potential. But Vegeta and possibly even Trunks himself may be concerned to see what the transformation is like. Maybe he does have legendary Super Saiyan and he won't be able to control himself. Imagine a hybrid with the legendary Super Saiyan power. It definitely would be pretty terrifying. But we'll see more of that later. For now, we're going to continue the tournament like normal. The group chases down Spovich and Yamu going to Babidi's ship. Pui Pui and Yakan are obviously not a problem, but then Dabura appears, and he does seem like an issue until Vegeta fights him. In simplest terms, Dabura's screwed here. Defeated really easily by Vegeta. Babidi is clearly panicking right now, but there may be a way for him to easily exploit Vegeta. And that's the bigger issue here. He wants to try and possess Vegeta, and it seems like it'll be even easier this time around. Considering Vegeta's backstory and how he is in this scenario, he may be easier to manipulate by Babidi. Even with Goku alive in this scenario, and with Vegeta probably not willingly getting possessed, Babidi is able to use Vegeta's inner anger as a backdoor to control him. This also leaves us to Majin Vegeta like normal, except something's different about him this time. This is clearly not the normal Majin Vegeta. Rather than using his controlled power, Vegeta seems to be in his old Berserk state, the normal legendary Super Saiyan form where he had the blank eyes and blind rage. Now with the Majin symbol on his head. But the worst part is here, given Vegeta's compromised mental state at this point, Babidi is able to easily control him, rather than Vegeta being a rogue agent. But the silver lining is with Babidi controlling him, that means Vegeta's not going to go berserk and destroy Earth. Sure, he's insane right now, but at least he's the controlled insane. Clearly, this is an issue. Babidi sicks Vegeta on Gohan and Goku, hoping that the fight will cause enough energy to be produced so that Buu will be revived. Shin tells him to try and end this quickly, and they say they'll try. As Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin all team up against Vegeta. Even with the 4v1, and with Goku and Gohan using Super Saiyan 2, it's still a challenge for them. Vegeta not only has some great power as is, but he gets a boost from being a Majin now. Definitely not an ideal situation for our heroes. Goku wants to try and make a Spirit Bomb, kinda like he did on Namek to defeat Vegeta. It seems like a foolproof method, but he knows that if he does that, it'll just give Babidi energy even quicker. They need to find a way to finish Vegeta without using that. All they can do for now is hold him off, and Shin helps them retreat. Until they figure out a better plan to not donate energy to Babidi, they're just going to leave Vegeta as is. Babidi sees this and it's kind of a shame. That could have made things a lot easier for him. Luckily for Babidi though, there's still a way that he can get the energy that he needs. The fact that Vegeta's even present and powering up at this point, that's giving Babidi energy. Of course it's not as fast as a normal fight would, but it still does generate some energy passively. He could even just have Vegeta go around destroying things. As long as Vegeta's exerting some of his energy, Babidi benefits from this. And with the sheer amount of energy that Vegeta gives off, it's eventually going to be enough for Babidi to revive Buu. And with Babidi losing focus on Vegeta and focusing on Buu instead, something within Vegeta is fighting back. He's finally starting to regain control, as he struggles not to only overcome his rage, but whatever Babidi put in him. As Babidi celebrates Boo's revival, he notices this and looks over at Vegeta, seeing the Saiyan desperately trying to regain his sense of sanity. And you know what? The wizard doesn't care if he loses control of Vegeta. He doesn't even need him anymore. If anything, this will be a fun little exercise and test for Boo. So he lets Vegeta continue. Vegeta eventually does break free, as he returns from his berserk state, going back into his controlled state, with the M symbol on his head slowly disappearing. Vegeta recollects himself and sees Boo standing there. Even though it's not his fault, he's angered at himself for even letting this happen. He'll take Boo out himself though. Vegeta launches towards the Majin, and far away, people are sensing this fight, specifically Goten and Trunks. With Trunks sensing this, he decides he wants to head out and help, and since he goes, Goten decides to as well. If Piccolo were there, he would have been watching over them and stopped them from doing this. But, if you remember from before, he was with Goku's group and is now in the Sacred World of Kai's. So Goten and Trunks are free to do what they want. They arrive and see the fight ongoing. Vegeta and Boo actually seem to be an even match, but Boo keeps regenerating. No matter how much damage Vegeta is able to do, Boo is simply able to recover, over and over again. He then begins getting the upper hand on Vegeta as Goten and Trunks watch horrified. They want to help, but they know that they'd be no match. Vegeta then senses the two of them nearby, which distracts Vegeta and allows Boo to get some hits in, dealing some severe damage and tossing Vegeta to the side. Boo had his fun, but he's getting kind of annoyed now, so he's just going to finish off Vegeta for good. He holds his hand out, charging a blast ready to kill him, but the two are distracted by something huge nearby. They look over and see Goten's on the ground. He's been knocked back by something and he's looking on in fear. Vegeta and Boo don't know what he's looking at, but they see a huge pillar of ki, coming from something that's behind a giant rock. A massive crater then appears, destroying that rock that's hiding Goten and Trunks. And behind it, it's revealed that Trunks is there, and Vegeta sees something that he expected but also feared. Trunks is finally transformed. Out of his anger against Boo, he was able to access Super Saiyan, although it's clearly not the same Super Saiyan that Goten, Goku, or Gohan have. No, it's the same one that Vegeta has, Legendary Super Saiyan. And since this is his first time getting it, it's not controlled at all. In a blind rage, Trunks then jumps over fighting Boo. Vegeta gets up, realizing that he needs to stop this quickly. Trunks is berserk and he does need help, although this means that Vegeta now has someone fighting with him against Boo. Goten would join too, but he's also kinda scared of how Trunks is right now. Vegeta jumps back in the fight, helping Trunks against Boo. This is the extra boost that Vegeta needed. He may have been an even match before, but with just being even, he wasn't able to completely erase Boo like he needed. Here, he now has this extra power with him. Trunks helps turn the tide of the battle. And as Trunks attacks, Vegeta attacks too, trying to match up with him. The way Trunks is fighting right now is pretty unpredictable, but Vegeta tries to sync as best as possible. He sees Trunks then charging a final flash, so he does the same. And instead of just injuring Boo this time, it completely erases him. Together, Vegeta and Trunks kill Boo with the final flash. But it's not a simple ending like that. No, Trunks is still berserk, and in this legendary Super Saiyan form that he now has access to. Vegeta tries to calm him down, but Trunks then goes to attack him instead. Luckily, Vegeta is strong enough to where he can counter this. He's impressed at Trunks' new power, but of course he can't let this go on. Charging up a single melee attack, he's able to knock Trunks out. This is the only way he could see himself stopping Trunks' rage. Goten comes over and asks what happened, and Vegeta explains. Trunks is a legendary Super Saiyan just like him, but he's a hybrid Saiyan, meaning he has much more potential and possibly much more latent strength. This could be an issue, and it also tells Vegeta that this runs through his genes. Meanwhile, Gohan, Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin are still with Shin. By this point, Gohan was able to free the Z-Sword, and he's been training with it a bit, planning to use it on Boo. Of course, they eventually do get the news that Boo has been defeated, so Gohan doesn't actually need to use it anymore. Although Shin lets him keep it to train, since Gohan clearly is worthy of using it. He takes them all back to Earth, and they catch up with Vegeta. Of course, this new revelation about Trunks is pretty big news, and Vegeta decides that he's not going to try and hide it anymore. Before he tried to prevent Trunks from accessing this power, but now he knows that he needs to have him access it again so he can control it. This is his new goal. Instead of improving himself, he now needs to focus on improving Trunks. And as an added bonus, if Trunks somehow masters this, he could potentially grow stronger than Vegeta is. The damage of the Boo saga is fixed. And now, we head into a small time skip. Vegeta immediately starts training Trunks once again. And as for Gohan, he kinda does stop training as often as he was before. Now that he's reached a point where he's graduating school and is going to start a family soon, he trains occasionally but not nearly as much as he did in this scenario before, although it's still more than he did in canon. But because of that, he felt that the Z-Sword wasn't getting much use from him. Goten did show some interest in it though, wanting to try it out himself. And Gohan trained with him a bit for him to use it. It takes a long time, but Goten eventually gets the hang of it, and Gohan lets him keep the sword, hoping that it stays safe in his hands. Right now, Goten's pretty jealous of Trunks. He can't catch up at all besides using this, which is why he's actually more motivated to train. Trunks is so far ahead because of this power that he's been gifted by being born as Vegeta's son. And yeah, Goten is a hybrid Saiyan, so he does get a great gift too. But Trunks is essentially born to be strong. Goten needs to work much harder if he wants to catch up, so he starts doing that. After spending weeks of trying to pick up the Z-Sword, he finally begins using it, randomly swinging it around and trying to train with it as he grows stronger. And with Vegeta training Trunks, I feel he'd eventually find a way for Trunks to access his control, quelling that rage that he had and now being able to use the form consciously. As for Vegeta himself, there would probably be a point where he trained so much that he'd get Super Saiyan 2, most likely his own version of it though. Think of it kind of like how Kale's Berserk form had a Super Saiyan 2 version. Vegeta's legendary form also has the same thing, a more powerful, more refined, controlled version of legendary Super Saiyan, a step above the original controlled version. He just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and it seems there's no end in sight for his strength. And it turns out there isn't, because next we get to Battle of Gods. And once again, with Vegeta having this power, there's not much that's going to change from the first part of Battle of Gods. The first big change we see is when Vegeta rages out against Beerus. Clearly Beerus slapping Bulma is going to have worse effects here. It once again makes Vegeta go berserk, and his strength is actually pretty formidable. Not only does it catch Beerus off guard, it's pretty shocking to see. And while suppressed, Beerus actually struggles against it, although once he starts using more of his true power, he's able to knock Vegeta out with one hit. Vegeta clearly is strong and gifted, and he wonders why he's so much stronger than the other Saiyans, everyone explains. And it makes Beerus pretty cautious, a legendary Super Saiyan with uncontrollable rage. He'll keep that in mind. This comes into play later during the ritual. He decides he'd rather have Goku get the ritual done on him. The main reason is he's not sure how it'll affect Vegeta. For all he knows, it might not work at all, and if it does work, it might have bad consequences. Imagine he gets this power, goes berserk again, then destroys everything. That would be no good. Now that Beerus knows Earth and all its food, he doesn't want it getting blown up by Vegeta. No, Vegeta will get his turn later. For now, they're doing the ritual on Goku. And with that, Goku gets Super Saiyan God and fights Beerus. But Beerus isn't just going to neglect Vegeta. He later returns asking to train both of them. They'll try and see if they can get Vegeta to access this power on his planet. That way he won't destroy Earth or all the good food along with it. For all they know, it might not even have bad effects. Maybe it'll all be okay. Before Beerus leaves on his second trip, Goten asks if he can fight him. Goten wants to prove himself, showing his strength off to Trunks and everyone else. Beerus is amused by this, and he says sure, why not, allowing Goten to use that sword that he uses. Of course, Goten's no match for Beerus, and in the process, the sword ends up breaking. Beerus apologizes for getting too carried away. He ended up breaking the sword on accident. But as he looks closer at the sword, he begins recognizing it. He asks Goten if by chance this is the Z-Sword, and Goten confirms. Beerus just ended up breaking the sword, and he realizes what that means. Immediately he grabs Goku and Vegeta and tells Whis to get them out of there. He doesn't want to deal with Elder Kai, so he rushes off as Goten wonders what he was doing. Why was he so nervous about the sword breaking? I mean, yeah, it's a bad thing, but Beerus seemed pretty terrified. They soon come to learn that Elder Kai was in the sword, since this random old man just showed up out of nowhere, explaining who he is and what happened. Goten, Trunks, Gohan, and whoever else is around are just speechless. They don't really know what to think of this. Were they not supposed to release him or something? Shin and Kibito show up since they've been watching, just as surprised as everyone else. Well, it looks like this is their mess to clean up now. So they take Elder Kai along with them and tell everyone that they'll see them soon, teleporting away not really knowing what to do. Goten's kinda bummed about the sword, but it doesn't matter. He's gotten strong enough and hopefully he can still train some other ways too, even though that sword was kind of a cheat code for him. On Beerus' planet, Vegeta fights Goku trying to utilize God Ki. After some months of training, he would have access to it, but he doesn't really know how to channel it into a transformation. Goku has Super Saiyan God and eventually gets Super Saiyan Blue. While Vegeta actually lags behind a bit and only gets Super Saiyan God, he realized that this is a completely different branch from his legendary Super Saiyan form, and it doesn't grow nearly as fast as legendary Super Saiyan does. He uses it for a bit and it is pretty strong, but as of now, he can't find a way to use the two of them at once. His new goal is to try to do what Kakarot did, combine it with the power of Super Saiyan. If he combines it with legendary Super Saiyan, it may have some pretty great effects on him, although it's definitely going to be a tough process. He only just figured out how to go Super Saiyan 2, or at least his own version of it, so getting Super Saiyan Blue or whatever his version of it will be, well, that's going to be a bit tough. The two continue training as Resurrection F happens on Earth. They actually don't get involved in Resurrection F this time. The hybrid Saiyans actually have it under control. After meeting Elder Kai, Gohan was interested in training with the Kais again, because with this third Kai, they may have some new stuff to teach him. He was able to get in contact with Shin and Kibito, and went back to the Sacred World of Kais briefly with Goten. It turns out Elder Kai actually did have some new tricks up his sleeve, specifically Ultimate. They ask Trunks if he wants to come along, but he's not too interested. He'd rather focus on improving his legendary form. Well, whatever. Elder Kai does the ritual on both Gohan and Goten, and they both get very strong from this, as you could probably guess. Goten's amazed. Now he's finally able to catch up to Trunks and compete with him. And Gohan's on a whole nother level now. He hasn't felt this strong in ages. It's great. And the first test of their power would actually be Frieza. And I mean, think about it. You got Ultimate Gohan, Ultimate Goten, and Legendary Trunks against Frieza. even with Golden, he's not going to fare too well against them. So as quickly as Resurrection F starts, it ends, proving that the hybrid Saiyans and those on Earth are able to handle themselves without Goku and Vegeta. We'll see more of this as the scenario continues. For now, we're going to end off here. So, what did you guys think about this part? What do you think will happen with the hybrid Saiyans, and how do you think Vegeta will access a new form of power? What else do you think will happen next? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and let's try to hit that like goal so we can get another part of this series. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future parts of this What If, or any of the videos that I upload on my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.